Hello and welcome to what is mercifully, the last episode of the Christmas Gauntlet here at Going Over Our Freds, the internet's best Fred Olin Ray podcast. As always, I'm Kennedy, and sitting across from me is...
Meredith. We are bringing it home with Dognapped, Hound for the Holidays, which was made in 2022.
This one is so new that it doesn't actually have any breakdown in it in writing the perfect Christmas TV movie by Fred Olin Ray. It only goes up to Royal Holiday on Ice. But so I really don't have any insight in this, and it doesn't really seem to follow the same 8 or 9 act structure that all the rest of these followed.
Yeah, I only really spotted one obvious commercial break.
I mean, there are obvious commercial breaks in this. Like, This is the most obvious commercial break stuff of all. Unlike a lot of our other movies, which are like, kind of Hallmarky movies, or I forget what the other one that does this. They're a little below the Netflix standard, but Lifetime is some of them. This is an Ion original, which Ion is like one of those UHF channels that is really excited when it gets to play reruns of Psych from 10 years ago. So, it's not as edgy as like a MeTV.
This movie, I think I'm very clever for writing this down. This movie is 3 Encyclopedia Brown stories in a trench coat spouting dog puns.
I'm sorry, this is 1 Encyclopedia Brown story that has been stretched out to 87 brutal minutes. This is a 5-minute mystery.
Yes.
Where you don't even get like a red herring or anything really. Like, it's just, hey, that person who is bad? She might be the bad guy. So anyway, how do we start with this nonsense here?
In just like the most bizarre way. So we open at a press conference where a social media influencer, per the, Ion description of the movie, is giving a press conference. We later learned that her name is Victoria Frost, and she's not just a social media influencer. She heads up an entire company of home goods and furnishings. So she designs furniture and flatware and plates and stuff.
Yeah, they couldn't decide between making her Martha Stewart or making her Paris Hilton, so they just said, let's do both.
That's a fair assessment. So Victoria has just adopted a shelter dog named Tiny. It's this smallish white dog. I couldn't tell what breed it is. I'm no dog expert. But it's about the size of a Cocker Spaniel. And this dog is held throughout the entire movie. And I think that was the key factor in deciding the size of dog. Like, can we hold it the entire time?
Yeah, because we don't want to train it or do anything like that. I would also like to note that this dog is fine. It's not ugly or anything like that, but they did not pick a particularly cute dog.
Yeah. Average dog, normal looking dog.
My dog is cuter than this dog, even though my doggy is a little fatty.
Well, your dog has a personality, and you regularly get that dog groomed and it has a haircut. This dog, Tiny, the dog playing Tiny, didn't even seem to be brushed at all.
It's like they had gotten him out of the shelter that day. I mean, maybe that's more accurate than she didn't have time to... She just adopted him, didn't have time.
Maybe.
It's a feature, not a book.
All right. Okay, so Victoria is encouraging more shelter adoptions at this press conference. Vivica A. Fox,
the only recognizable person in this movie.
I was shocked to see Vivica A. Fox on screen.
Okay. You should not be shocked to see Vivica A. Fox, because Vivica A. Fox does 15 Lifetime movies a year. This is her job. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she is the star of all of these David Dakota films that play on Lifetime called like The Wrong Cheerleader and The Wrong Whatever. She's in all of them, and they all have similar names, but she's always playing a different character, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And it's like she just basically does what she does in this movie. Which,
wow!
If I'm paying attention properly, Vivica A. Fox plays a woman who is half woman, half desk, because for 90% of this movie, she is just sitting behind a desk in the same location.
Yeah.
just doing her lines.
Yes. Well, she changes her shirt, so it could have been a one-day shoot.
Yeah. And she also... It's weird how somebody's face can look both very stiff and puffy at the same time.
That's the Botox.
She has a face full of poison. But,
Yeah.
I mean, again, the highlight of the movie because, she's an actor. And I'm not sure about some of the other people in this movie.
This is terrible to say, but, like, she was the most beautiful of all of the actors in this film. It really... So, in Hollywood, who, like, the most beautiful one, whether, like, by bone structure or just makeup and lighting, who the main character of the story is. They dress them up. Here's your main character. They're the hottest one. But in this film, everybody's just kind of normal looking, except for Vivica A. Fox, who is drop dead gorgeous. And it's so weird that she's playing Victoria's manager.
Yeah, well, it is a little weird because, okay, so we've got... Well, we haven't gotten into the story yet, but we've got Victoria, we've got her assistant, we've got the assistant's mom, and they all basically look the same and almost the same age. I suppose the assistant looks a little younger than her mom, but like...
Not by much. Not by like mother-daughter age.
But they're basically, they're dressed similarly, they have the similar makeup, they've got like their hair done by the same people, like it's very... Yeah, it's just like, what did people show up in? Let's just do it.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay, so we're introduced to the first big problem. So what's the first big problem that we get here?
Which one are you talking about? There's so many problems.
So the first thing that I remember happening is, so she introduces that she's adopting the dog, but then we immediately cut to a news story where the newscaster, her line delivery is very much... If you ever saw those old SNL sketches with Brecky, where they're like, we're not porn stars anymore.
She was giving Fox newscaster.
Yeah, near as I can tell, the We're Not Porn Stars Anymore newscaster is a lady named Tara Toner, who works as a production attorney on movie sets, and has they occasionally use her as an actor, but it looks like she might be like a real estate attorney or something like that. That just is on the set, and
she's really bought into a specific kind of aesthetic that is high maintenance. You have to try real hard to look like that.
Yeah, I assume that, she is also trying to land a rich husband if she has not already. I'm not really...
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
All right, so Victoria, should we just call her the villain? Our bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's supposed to be the twist, but it's not really.
Right.
I mean, yeah. She's a selfish boss.
Okay, Victoria, the selfish boss, is facing allegations of copying designs for her line of home furnishings. This is a huge scandal. The company's stock is down. And it's only 10 days till Christmas, which is peak shopping season for home goods. Obviously, you want to buy your couch in the 10 days before Christmas.
Yeah, and plates too, yeah.
And plates and forks, things like that.
Yeah.
So her idea, the collective group's idea, is for her to lay low, not catch any more bad press, and hope that the frenzy of this news story will die down. A perfect opportunity arises because her personal assistant, Emily, our heroine, is going home for Christmas in some nondescript small town, Plattsville, Parkersville, Pittsville.
I think it's Plattsville.
Great.
Yeah, so they're in Southern California, and the plan is to go to a small town that is somewhere else in Southern California that they do have to take a private jet to.
Yes.
But, it's the same place. It's not like a quaint little... This is really when you need to go to East Aurora. But that would take too long, because you've already set up people in Southern California.
But California is so huge that, sure, an hour flight could take you to the other end of California. That's fine, I think. Yeah. All right, so we have our cast of characters. Victoria, the bad boss. Emily, her put-upon PA. and Tiny, the dog. They all go to stay with Emily's mom. And there's a like sort of ongoing thing from here on out is that Victoria expects kind of like room service or personal attention from Emily's mom, and Emily's mom takes this with like very good grace.
Yeah, she doesn't really have a strong reaction either way. She just kind of does whatever Victoria tells her to do, and she's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't do it like a slow burn, and she doesn't like fall into like a super subservient pattern, like she's enjoying this because she misses her kid. She just kind of does nothing. There's like no choice made right there.
Right.
Okay, so I will say so far, the most distracting but interesting piece of acting in this movie, in this entire movie, is when Emily is calling her mom to say like, hey, can Victoria come over for a sleepover to lay low? Because of the distracting amount of business being done on both ends of the phone line. Like, her mom is talking on the phone while having a big mixing bowl, doing nothing in particular, but she's like really like mixing a mixing bowl the entire conversation. And then Emily is folding laundry while doing it, and I was like, okay, good, they're doing something. This movie's going to have some effort. Like, they don't want to just stand there motionless talking. And that was pretty much it. Like, that was all of the effort put into this entire movie. Is what if I folded laundry while talking on the phone?
Yep. Hey, at least something was done.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So they settle in, and first order of business is Emily has to take the dog to the vet because, again, they literally just adopted him from the shelter, and they're not sure that he's up to date on all of his shots. So off she goes, and wouldn't you know it, the vet named Jonathan is an old friend from high school, and his like basically the first words out of his mouth are, I had a crush on you in high school.
I know, it's so subtle. Yeah, we introduced 3 more characters in the vet's office. It's vet, gay receptionist, vet assistant guy.
Like a vet tech, Bernard.
He's like the poorest man's Josh Gad.
Okay.
Like, and then vet's dad, who's the head vet, who I don't know if he has some sort of like Bell's palsy or had bad Botox or something like that, but half of his mouth doesn't move the entire time.
There you go. Diversity in casting.
Diversity in casting. Look at all these different white people. So
some of them are different shades of white. Bernard is a ginger.
I could not even like this movie roofied me. Like, I cannot remember anything about this movie after having seen it.
All right. Well, they get the dog checked out. The dog's fine. It's got a microchip, so they can they've got the record of his healthcare, and all he needs is an updated booster for something. So Bernard goes to administer the booster shot, and Emily faints at the sight of the needle. And so here is where this is the point of our mystery. This is the beginning. When Emily is out, stuff happens, and we just come back when Jonathan is kind of trying to flirt her back to consciousness.
You know, like you do, yeah.
The dog, Tiny, has gone missing. And so we were scrambling, have you seen Tiny? Did you see Tiny? You know, the vet cage, the kennel cage or whatever, is wide open and nobody has seen the dog. Where did he go?
Okay, so our perpetrator here, our Dognapper, who we don't know who it is, he or she is relying on Emily fainting at the sight of a large needle that they may or may not have needed to give to the dog in order to sneak into a vet's office that he or she can somehow break into and know where the dog is.
Yeah.
Okay. Encyclopedia Brown mysteries are way tighter than this, is all I'm saying.
Jonathan and Emily immediately head over to the sheriff's office. So now we've got a sheriff in the mix.
Sure, why not? Missing dog.
Exactly. He comes back a couple of times throughout, but he doesn't really move the plot for. He's just the sheriff. There's a sheriff sometimes.
Okay, so this is 20 minutes into the movie, and this is the plot of the movie, and we're done. There's no more plot to this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a couple of reveals, but no actual mysteries, and
We have a lot of Emily wondering aloud, so that is kind of a mystery.
That's kind of a mystery when she just kind of says things.
All right, so they're going to print a bunch of missing dog flyers. The reward is going to be $75 and a Christmas wish. Okay.
Why is the reward $75 and a Christmas wish?
To provide incentives, Michael. Like, obviously.
What does that mean? How could you possibly fulfill a Christmas wish? Like, you're gonna get, like, kids who want to fly and sex perverts. Like,
yeah.
What wish are you fulfilling?
All right, well, whatever. There's another little bit of a ruse. They're going to say the dog belongs to Emily because she technically signed the adoption papers, and they don't want to have a lot of publicity on Victoria, who's in town on purpose to avoid publicity. Great. Meanwhile, we learn at the same time that Emily has a big sketchbook of home goods designs, like a physical sketchbook. She draws with a pencil. And she's been trying throughout her employment with Victoria to get her to look at it because she wants to, like, she's working there because she wants to be a home goods designer, and she thought that this would be her big break. Victoria, being a bad boss, has been denying her that opportunity, even though sometimes the collections that Victoria puts out seem suspiciously like Emily's sketches, but Emily is not suspicious.
Emily is a very stupid character.
Yeah, she's not the brightest bulb.
Now, if they made it actually like the stuff you see at Home Goods, there would be no denying, because it'd be like, I would like 3 penguins wearing Philadelphia Flyers jerseys inside a snow globe, but the snow is pink for no reason. Like, it's...
Yes.
That is a whole TikTok trend right now of couples being like, hey, do you have... And then they name, like... 3 pictures of your grandma inside of a wine bottle, and then they go and, like, they find this on the shelf. It's Home Goods is unhinged, and but no, this is just kind of like standard stuff. Like,
right,
I again, the movie roofied me. I could not tell you a single one of her designs. It's like, oh, a mug with a flower on it. Wow.
Yeah. That was one of the sketches. Well, it doesn't matter. I was really struggling to understand the level of Victoria's fame. She's got a fangirl named Carrie, who we met at the press conference. She'll come back. But Carrie's acting as if Victoria is Taylor Swift chaperone level of fame for a furniture and flatware designer.
Yeah,
what?
You know, all those, like, big Martha Stewart heads who, like, copy her haircut and stuff like that. And so weird. Yeah, it's this.
Yeah,
I didn't mention, but there is I said Vivica A. Fox is the only actor that people would recognize in this, but that is not true of people who follow this podcast. You know, all 10 of them. We have Meredith Thomas show up in the beginning as a reporter and at the end as a reporter.
Yes,
who is best known as... Is she the best friend in Christmas in Vermont, or the workplace associate who ends up saving the day?
The workplace associate.
Yeah, she plays Dana in that, and she pops up in a lot of these Christmas movies. Yeah. And
wasn't she the bad boss in a Royal Christmas fashion?
Yeah, she was the bad boss in that, too. She generally has a line reading that is very similar to if you have Siri just read something aloud. Mm-hmm. And she's probably in the top 3 actors in this movie.
She has facial expressions when she speaks.
God, this movie is rough.
Yeah. Back to the vet's office. We're running around looking for the dog. Oh no, the dog. At the vet's office, there is another character. I think she did a totally great job for somebody's family member that they pulled into this movie. Mrs. Fowler. She is lodging complaints. Actually, no, I think she's probably used to being on stage. She must be in, like, community theater.
Yeah, she has a lot of the same energy as that lady we like from A Prince for Christmas, who ran the inn and who was the mom in one of the last movies we watched. This kind of, like, you know, nosy neighbor kind of energy about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, she's doing a lot.
She's lodging complaints about the foot traffic and noise coming from the vet's office overnight because she's a neighbor and she wants to sleep at night. And she's like, why is it so noisy? Bernard is saying, like, we don't have anybody, like, we're closed at night. We're not boarding any animals right now. You can't, like, the barking that you're hearing overnight is not coming from us because we don't have animals in here overnight. The sheriff comes by for no reason and nobody has any surveillance cameras. So it's a mystery. Capital M, mystery.
But they also solve the mystery for us by saying, like, and I know it's not the garage next door because that is empty for the entire month of December for no reason. So it can't be that.
Yeah.
This is definitely not where the missing dog is hiding, if that's what you're thinking.
So completely glossing over that because that place is empty and there's no dog in there, Jonathan takes Emily out to lunch.
Yeah, and the one restaurant scene we revisit is like 3 different restaurants in this movie.
Now, Victoria's arch nemesis, a competing home goods designer.
Yep.
Sandra Reed. Sandra Reed is the designer that Victoria is accused of copying designs from. She was like kind of caught red-handed. She calls Emily during lunch to gloat because, as a result of Victoria's bad press, there was like some Christmas gig, some big deal, some industry big deal that she was going to host for Christmas. And the organizers tapped Sandra to host it instead because they don't want the bad press. So Sandra calls Emily to gloat because Victoria's not picking up the phone. She's like, near. And you're like, great. Love that. Sandra Reed is... I really got an eyeful of her false eyelashes. She got a lot of use out of expressive eyes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yes. So that's my comment on Sandra. Anyway, apropos of nothing, we learn that Jonathan's real passion is art. He gave it up to work at his dad's vet clinic when his mom got sick and died. All this makes sense.
I completely don't remember him saying that or his mom dying, but it's just like, you know, a tragic, perfect man that needs to be rescued as our love interest hero of a Christmas movie.
Yes.
And gosh, this movie has so much to do with Christmas, right?
The only thing that I thought was like well done is Emily's Christmas sweaters. Each one is progressively more cheery than the last.
Yeah, but I mean, this movie could be taking place at the end of fiscal.
Yeah.
And it would be just as Christmassy as it currently is.
All right, so now we get to something mildly interesting. The dog napper leaves a ransom note at Emily's house. We open it up and it's got a Polaroid photo of Tiny with 1 million or else written on it in Sharpie. Victoria's determined to get the dog back, and now she's willing to use her celebrity and kind of come out of hiding to support the cause of finding Tiny and paying the ransom.
So wait, it says it's got $1 million or else written on Sharpie in there? Even though on the envelope it's cut out letters from a magazine so people can't match the handwriting, but they still have Sharpie writing on the inside of the letter?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God. What is
That's
this movie
true.
doing?
That's lots of things, really. It's doing a lot. None of it's related to each other, but it's doing stuff.
Wheel spinning. That's what it's fucking doing.
Yeah. All right. So now she's going live on, I don't know, TikTok, Instagram. She's just some social media platform, unspecified. Victoria's putting pleas out to the public of like, my dog's been dognapped. Victoria, like, she's saying, like, oh, okay, this looks good. And then for the next time we go live, I'd love to kind of reset this so that the Christmas tree is behind me with the latest collection of Christmas ornaments. And then she kind of, like, gives Emily the death glare of, like, she knows that Emily put her sketches to the design team and that those ornaments are rightfully, like, inspired by Emily's work. And then we were kind of, like, now suspicious of Victoria, like, oh, she's kind of known all along, blah, 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 the intrigue.
So she doesn't seem broken up about the dog at all. So, like, of
No.
course, she never has, like, she keeps on calling the dog Tony instead. Like, they're doing
Yeah.
everything possible to make it obvious that she doesn't actually care about any of this. Is this when she gives the mom a collection of her ornaments, or is that later on? Do you remember?
This is the moment where she says, "We'll pull in the full collection, do up the tree," and generously says that the mom can have them at wholesale.
Yeah, well, so she, it sounds like she's going to give them for free, and the mom gives this reaction like, you can't tell if she's thankful or not. She's like, oh, thanks. And then she's like, oh, yeah, we can give them to you at wholesale price. And I, like, and there couldn't have even been, like, just nothing real. There was no decisions made in this. This is very much like, a bunch of summer camp kids wrote a thing in 2 weeks and then performed it live.
Yeah, exactly. They came up with a mystery. That's hard to do.
They came up with the mystery, and they remembered most of their lines.
Yay!
Oh my.
All right. So meanwhile, Victoria calls Dee Dee and asks for a loan of $1 million to pay the ransom. Dee Dee is just like, what do you mean you need a loan? Because Victoria's been talking up a whole big game about how she's so wealthy and she's a business owner. But in the end, Dee Dee fronts her the money, and it turns out she's fronting her personal money. So I don't know what else Dee Dee has going on where she can pull $1 million.
Well, she was in Kill Bill 1.
Well, it's that Independence Day money, too. It's been growing in the stock market.
Did she might have played one of Two-Face's girlfriends in Batman Forever? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't.
It was like Drew Barrymore and Vivica A. Fox.
He had two girlfriends? I don't remember.
It was like Sugar and Spice.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think I've only seen that movie once, but...
Okay. It was a long time ago, too. That was ages ago.
Yeah.
Was that 97? My goodness.
I think it might have been before, because 97, I think, was Batman and Robin.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
So.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, anyway, Jonathan and Emily go to a nice restaurant for dinner.
Different restaurant. She's like, this place is really nice, even though it's the same fucking table.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same setup, too.
Yeah, they must have filmed it back to back. They're like, change your sweater, let's go.
Yeah.
He checks out her sketchbook, deems the sketches impressive. That's the word he uses, impressive.
Mm-hmm,
Thank you, veterinarian. And then he says Emily is a genius. And he's like, laying it on a little thick there. Good, okay.
Look, he needs some out-of-town strange. He's been living in that small town, and the nosy neighbor across the street is starting to look good to him, so...
Well, I just imagine, like, this is why he wanted to be an artist, so that when he says that he's impressed by her drawings, it means something. But he's not an expert. That's a dream from 20 years ago. He's a veterinarian.
Yeah.
He can just say that he loves her drawings and not have this, like, one-sentence backstory of wanting to be an artist. It's ridiculous. He doesn't have any expertise.
Now, listen, as someone who, as a little kid, dreamed of being a Ninja Turtle,
Yeah.
I often see TikToks of turtles and just, complain about how they're doing it wrong. So, it's like, that's not how I would eat lettuce, okay? Get it together, Shelley.
All right. At dinner, Emily sees a woman walk by carrying a tiny lookalike. So, a dog she believes is tiny. So she leaps up, tries to catch some, fails to catch some, but gets a partial license plate. They run to the sheriff's office to, report a tiny sighting. We get a new character here named Griffin Jones, who is evidently corporate security.
Okay, I have to back up a little bit. I have to back up a little bit here first, because this is our first obvious commercial break where
Yes.
she sees the person leave with the tiny dog, which is, I'm assuming, is the same dog, because they're not going to
Has to be.
dogs. And then there's a hard cut, and then we're hard cutting to them outside, looking at a car driving away without any of the meat in between, what happened. And it is the most obvious day for night shot, which is saying something, because that happens a lot in these Riddle and Ray movies, where it's just we'll slap a blue filter on it. It'll look like nighttime. It's fine. And then, okay, so we jump ahead and we get our corporate security guy. And did you catch the line? Maybe I misheard it, but it certainly sounds like Victoria says, "Oh yes, he comes highly recommended by Diddy."
Oh no, I didn't catch that.
I mean, might have misheard it, but maybe she said Didi, but it certainly sounded to me like he came recommended by Diddy.
You're hearing that because Diddy's in the news. They clearly meant Didi.
In my headcanon, he worked for Diddy, which explains a lot.
It certainly would. All right, so this guy, Griffin, he's poring over social media photos because, again, Victoria is a social media influencer for some reason, and identifies Carrie, the superfan, with a dog that looks just like Tiny. And he's like, hey, is this anybody? Emily recognizes Carrie as a superfan. They're like, oh my god, is she the Dognapper? Lo and behold, Carrie's standing right there, so they just go over and ask her. It's great. It's awesome.
I mean, God, they had to work so hard on this mystery.
Yes.
It's not even like held up as like a red herring or anything for a while. It's just like, no, I got this dog. Okay, well, we'll promise her something, and then we'll check the chip because we know this dog has a chip. And then they check the chip, and it's like, oh yeah, no, it's not the same dog.
Right. It was like several minutes dedicated to this.
It's just wasted time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Dee Dee has sent the $1 million. They're going to hold another press conference and then deliver the ransom money. Another ransom note is delivered, again, with the like crazy cutout letters on the front of the envelope. And it gives the drop instructions. So they want the money to be dropped outside of a specific trash can at a specific time.
So they're definitely going to like set up cameras and more than one police officer to catch this person, right?
Why would they do that?
I think this is the point of the movie where I'm like, who is this movie for? Like, this is a movie ostensibly for adults because all the characters are adults, but
there's no swearing.
But it's all it's like. I think I only came to the conclusion that I think this is for adults with severe brain damage.
Okay.
Like people who are in motorcycle accidents, but who also love Christmas, but not that much because Christmas doesn't have anything to do with the movie.
It's an underserved audience. We know that there's a lot of brain damaged individuals through injury or disease or anything. So I think this is a absolutely like totally fine audience to go after. And then we watched it.
Yeah, and not only is it for people with brain damage, I think it might cause brain damage.
No. All right, well, we get to a scene that really irked me, so that's why I will remark upon it. Otherwise, it is unremarkable. Because Victoria is staying with Emily in her childhood home. In the middle of the night, Victoria is trying to work on her summer collection or spring collection of stuff. That's where you saw her, like, draw a teacup with a flower on it, and she scratches out. She's like, my designs are terrible, I need inspiration. Then she seeks out or goes snooping, finds Emily's sketchbook, and then takes photos with her phone of Emily's designs. And later on in this movie, those designs are then come back as like judged for that next spring or summer collection. So that's like a little something, like a little interpersonal drama that between Emily and Victoria. The bone I have to pick with it is this movie was made and released in 2022.
Yeah.
They have technology. Victoria's using her like latest iPhone or whatever to take pictures of these sketches. As far as I know, all of this work is done on iPads or other tablets.
Yeah, like that, so you can actually like, edit it and stuff.
Yeah. And then, like, email it to the production team or whatever you're going to do. But both of them, both Victoria and Emily, have giant, like, sketchbooks that they're lugging around.
Well, and there's also a whole plot point with, like, a mysterious photographer who's using a very old-fashioned camera when, like, unless you're, a professional and the person is not a professional doing this, they would just be using an iPhone camera, which is better than a lot of these, like, big old cameras anyway.
Yeah.
It's almost like this movie was made by a 70-year-old guy.
Almost. You make a really good point, because when we were at that concert the other day, we were all like taking little video snippets of our favorite songs, and the guy next to me had one of the newer cameras than mine. Excuse me, newer phones than mine. And when he zoomed in on the stage, I was like, oh my God, that video is clear. Like, what they have now is beyond belief.
Fact or fiction, beyond belief.
Yes. Oh yeah, Riker.
It's the gift set that keeps on giving. Jonathan Frakes on that show.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. All right. Anyway.
Okay, so where were we now? The drop off?
Not yet. There's some other like bullshit that happens. So.
Oh, okay.
This town has an annual Christmas tree decorating contest. It's this town's whole deal. They build up to it all year.
How does it work? Do they decorate the trees there? Do people bring their Christmas trees to the contest? I don't understand the logistics of this.
Yes.
Well, it's like just a bunch of people with their arms wrapped around a 9-foot fir tree walking to the community center.
Why not?
Or it's like, don't decorate your tree at home. Decorate them at the community center, and we'll throw a bunch of shit on there on Christmas Eve. I don't understand this. Is this a thing that happens? I don't understand life in Platteville or Plattsburgh or Duxburg. Definitely not Duxburg. But
that's why we have to have like an extended universe.
Life is like a hurricane here in Plattsburgh, is what I'm saying.
All right. So there's this contest. Let's not think too hard about the details.
This is the let's not think too hard about the details movie. Just don't think about anything.
Because Sandra, the arch nemesis, took Victoria's hosting gig at the big gala or whatever.
Yeah.
Jonathan thinks that he will be doing Emily a favor if he pulls some strings with the local Chamber of Commerce to get Victoria in that judging role for Plattsburgh's tree decorating contest. He doesn't care about Victoria. He's trying to get in with Emily, who's super stressed out about Victoria. Fine.
Yeah.
So that's the setup that's happening now, in between getting that second ransom note and delivering the money. This is the obvious point where you would put that in the movie.
Yeah. This is where you put it in the movie, yeah.
Right. Okay, so now it's time to make the ransom drop.
Yeah.
Victoria's dropping the money. It's in a brown paper bag. She, walks to the trash can, delivers the package, and walks away.
She just sets it next to the trash can, too.
Yeah.
There's, no clever... put it underneath the trash can or even in the trash can. And coincidentally, the trash is also being picked up at about that exact same time, which causes a distraction because, like clever people, every one of our characters is on one side of the street looking at the drop-off.
Yeah.
And no one seems suspicious that Victoria's like, oh no, I have to do this myself because people will get suspicious. And okay,
it's
fine.
Like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Okay, so... she gets the money from Dee Dee. Mm-hmm. How?
Griffin delivers it.
Oh, okay. So, Griffin some bank gave her $1 million in cash money, like that self-same day. Mm-hmm. And then Griffin brought it, I assume he brought it in a bag on a plane over there?
Or he drove up.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, they're just in Southern California. They're like an hour away. So.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm thinking too hard about this movie again. And that's
you're giving it a lot of thought here.
It's more thought than some people, I think, who made the movie, I think. Mm-hmm. But this is a movie that is 85 minutes long and took 75 minutes to make. So...
Right. So the bag goes missing. It's one of those scenes where the traffic is in between the camera and the bag, and then once one car goes, the bag is gone, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
They did a cut, and the bag was no longer there. Nothing clever happens. We don't see anything. It doesn't even look obscured. It's just okay, we cut away for a second, we look at something else, and now the bag's not there. Mm-hmm. Just like the dog being kidnapped, we don't really know how these things occur or what happened.
Yeah. That one's pretty bad because you could imagine all sorts of scenarios for the dog napping because later on Bernard's like, we never lock the back door, and you're like, okay.
Because we got to let the dogs out, and naturally our dog napper would know this information,
right?
Because reasons.
But this one, they never give the overview. Like at the end of every heist movie, they go back and say like, and here's exactly how the thing happened that you couldn't see. And then you're like so satisfied because you get the closure. None of that here.
Yeah. And okay, so obviously, you know, it is the she kidnapped herself dude, Big Lebowski intention here, where just Victoria took her own dog. I mean, we just know this, and her accomplice doesn't actually arrive until after the dog is kidnapped, which is odd, and we don't know how that worked out. And we could get the explanation that like she like just didn't put the money in that paper bag, and then
right.
You know, there could be a number of ways this could have happened, but we have no idea.
No idea.
But we do a commercial break, and then we cut to Emily chasing down a kid on a bicycle who also has a paper bag that is exactly the same shape and size in his front basket of his bicycle. And like she chases after him and like terrifies this like 13-year-old little shit who I think he might give the best reading in the movie. So
yeah,
like,
and he also gives her the finger when he rides away. I was just like, all right.
Does he give her the finger? Wow, in an Ion show? I did not see that at all.
Well, you know, maybe I inserted it in my memory.
I mean, it was...
He's got an attitude.
It felt like the finger, even if it wasn't. Yeah, so she pulls the bag out of his thing and like opens it up and then pulls out a bagel and she's like...
Right, touching his food.
Yeah, well, and first off, like, who has loose bagels in a giant Topps, like brown paper bag? Like, you have them in smaller bags, or you have them wrapped up if they are in a bag like that. And she's like, "This is a bagel!" And he says, "Why? What did you expect it to be?" And she's like, $1 million. And then the kid says, $1 million? I wish. It has all the energy of a Kyle Mooney sketch from Saturday Night Live. Like, it has that, like... It seems like it's deliberately a poor read, but, like, this kid has so many layers. I love him.
This kid was born too late. He's Gen X through and through. All right, so we kind of move on a little bit. First mystery is resolved. Who's been taking the mystery photos of Victoria throughout her time in Plattsville? It's been Bernard. Bernard's the guy with the old camera who's been taking a bunch of photos and selling them to the paparazzi. In his defense... or in his self-defense, he just needs to make a quick buck. It's a victimless crime. What he also does, because he's hunting down Victoria, he took pictures of the whole thing where the money went missing, except he didn't take pictures of the money going missing. He took pictures of a car and their license plate.
Yeah.
And he says they took the money. And you're like, all right.
How do you know that? Sure, okay.
Are there any other photos that you took that could help? But no.
And once again, like, there has been kind of a background mystery we haven't even mentioned of, like, oh, who's been taking all these photos the whole time? And the only clue we have is there's a camera on the front seat of Jonathan's car. Mm-hmm. The only person in town, other than the superfan, who even seems to know who Victoria is Bernard. So it's like, okay, it's him. Sure.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So... Jonathan takes the camera.
Yeah. And
he goes right to the sheriff, right?
Oh my God, no. He takes the camera, the whole camera. He doesn't say like, Bernard, email that photo. No, he takes the camera, runs over to Emily's house. So Emily, Victoria, and the mom, Donna, are all there. And he's like, I gotta show you something. And Emily sees, so he shows her
just a picture of a car.
The picture of the car. And then she presses a button and sees other pictures that Bernard took, and she's like, you're the guy who's been snapping these photos and selling them, and therefore you've betrayed me, and therefore I don't trust anything you say. However,
this is the blow up for no reason, because we're at that point in the movie.
Right. And furthermore, she's just gonna keep it on with Victoria judging the Christmas tree contest that Jonathan set up for her.
Well, I mean, this all would be like easier if he would have just said, like, have a phone like, he doesn't need to show her the picture even. It's like, hey, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is Bernard has been the one that's been taking these photos of Victoria the whole time. But the good news is he caught the guy who took the money. He doesn't set it up at all. He just, like, randomly shows her a picture of a car. And she's like, what's this? And then starts scrolling through. And, like, if this were an Ion movie, it would have been a bunch of dick pics. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this couple that has not gotten together yet is broken up. This is the most Christmas movie thing that happens in the Christmas movie, is this stupid fight for no reason. So
It reminds me of, I don't know, a high school drama where a severely damaged young person would just start a fight for no reason because it feels normal to them, because their home life was chaotic. And then everyone else in the friend group is left wondering what the fuck just happened. That's what this feels like.
So what you're saying is she's acting this way because Emily doesn't have a dad.
Yes.
Yeah, we get dead mom backstory for Jonathan, but nothing about why Emily doesn't have a dad, right?
Right, yeah, no, yeah. Yes. Why would we? It doesn't matter. All right.
Nothing matters.
Mrs. Fowler is back at the vet, complaining about overnight commotion at the vet office again. And she did something about it. She overnight had a security camera installed. So even though it didn't capture anything from last night's commotion, this night's commotion she's going to catch on camera.
Mm-hmm. On camera.
Yeah, great.
Gosh, I wonder if that's going to pay off.
No, I got the timing wrong. She set it up last night. So she's complaining about the noise, and she says she set up a security camera and she's going to review the footage. So she hasn't. She has the capability to have reviewed the footage and has not done so. So whatever, doesn't matter. Jonathan's like, wait a minute, I never checked out the neighboring closed business. I wonder if there's something going. So he goes over there. He hears barking.
Where the barking is coming from.
Yeah. So he breaks in. Fine, whatever, just break in, and that finds the goddamn dog.
Okay, so when they were first describing this place, it seemed like an auto body shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a car repair shop.
Yeah.
And then they walk into this place, and there's like a shelf full of like 7 computer monitors. There is a tea kettle.
Yeah.
A pipe wrench.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what is this place?
It could still be a car repair shop because cars are basically just computers these days.
So you need the 7 monitors on a shelf?
For when the monitors break, and then your tech, who's 70 years old, like takes a pipe wrench to break the monitor because he's frustrated, and then you just pull out the new monitor. Yeah.
And mechanics famously love tea.
Yeah.
And have working stoves in their
Don't you
garages.
ever need to pour boiling water into something with an engine?
I mean, you don't have that's a stovetop tea kettle. Like you could have like an electric kettle, but like
These guys are old school.
Like, okay, yeah, so he finds the dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it's the dog.
He had texted Emily, who's mad at him. And he says, meet me at the Taylor repair shop, it's urgent or something. So she does, even though she's
Instead
mad
of,
at him.
I found the dog.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't say, I found the dog.
No. What? No. Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. So, thank goodness. Anyway, so he finds the dog. Emily shows up. She's like, the dog! Griffin is already there. He takes Emily hostage. Emily grabs a tea kettle and punches Griffin on the head.
Oh, wait, Griffin's a bad guy?
Yeah.
But Diddy vouched for him. P. Diddy.
Miraculously, this works. Griffin is incapacitated by being hit with an empty tea kettle by a woman who's half his size. It's fine.
Must have been a cast iron tea kettle. We must have missed that part.
Yeah, I must have. Victoria arrives. She has a gun on the entire group, well, except for Griffin, who's still kind of out.
How did they know they were there? Is this the regular time to just check on the kidnapped dog?
When Jonathan sent the text message to Emily, Emily was at home, mentioned something to her mom, and Victoria had been just around the corner and asked Emily's mom to zip up her dress. So she overheard something was happening.
Okay.
She also asked Donna to zip up the dress that had already been zipped up or did not need a zip up. But we got a little zip up sound.
Well, there you go then.
So that's good.
That's attention to detail. That's what I like.
It was, yeah. Anyway, so Victoria's there. She's got a gun on them. And she reveals her entire plan. The plan was this news story was going to replace her plagiarism news story. So to get it out of the old story out of the news cycle to bolster her business, she said that the stock price was up since the dog napping happened. And as a bonus, she gets to keep Dee Dee's $1 million because she just, wanted $1 million.
I love stealing. Mm-hmm. I love taking things. Yeah.
And furthermore, she says if Emily keeps quiet, she will promote Emily to head of the designs department.
How many employees does Victoria have?
Oh, I don't know.
It looks like one. And Dee Dee is an investor? Uh-huh. I don't know what Dee Dee's job is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fixer?
She's...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, okay. I assume, she also employs a bunch of Chinese children to make all these products, too. So, I mean, it's probably a big business.
Yeah. Something. All right, well, whatever. So Griffin takes the dog, and then he and Victoria abscond because Victoria's due at the Christmas tree judging party. So they leave. And then all seems hopeless. Emily and Jonathan are so disheartened, but then Emily spots the surveillance camera. Yay! They have an idea. Here's a commercial break. They don't do anything about the idea that you can see. It's very frustrating.
All right, so I'm trying to remember the sequence of events here because, Griffin shows up, holds Emily hostage, he gets knocked out. Victoria shows up, also pulls a gun on them. Mm-hmm. They walk outside where Victoria has to reveal her master plan in front of the camera instead of just, staying inside.
Yeah.
And then Griffin gets back up, and they're like, you stay here. I'm going to give you a promotion later, but you stay here.
Yeah.
And they don't, tie him up or anything like that. They're just like, no, don't follow us. And then, they ostensibly trap him in the garage, but not really?
No, they don't even try. They just drive away.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're bad at being criminals.
Uh-huh. They leave. They're going to the town's Christmas tree judging contest. We've got a brand new character. Her name's Mayor Brown. Dee Dee is there. Victoria is so delighted. She makes an announcement that the dog has been found. They bring out the dog. Hooray! That she's so happy.
And Dee Dee seems to know Mayor Brown.
Yeah.
Because it's the only other person of color in this movie, so they talk.
Probably. But I mean, it would be astute of Dee Dee to show up in a town and immediately make friends with the mayor. Sure. Yeah.
She's very sharp. She's a sharp business lady. That's why she has $1 million in her personal fund that she's willing to give up right away.
Exactly. So lo and behold, Jonathan and Mrs. Fowler arrive just in time, right as Victoria is still on stage with the surveillance footage. And that footage unbelievably includes audio. So Victoria's entire confession and her holding them at gunpoint is revealed to the entire party.
Yeah, because Victoria was trying to pin it all on Emily. That was her contingency if Emily wouldn't take the bribe. She was like, yeah, I will blame it all on you and Jonathan. So yeah, they show up with a thumb drive that just plugs into the side of a monitor and is immediately ready to play video. They don't even need a remote or anything like that. It's great.
The terrible thing is that if you had a Gen Z person watching this, they wouldn't know any better. And yeah, it was made by a 70-year-old man who also maybe doesn't know any better. But sure.
It's really how hacking works in NCIS is how this movie's technology works.
Yes. Okay.
It's two people typing on the keyboard at once will make us hack faster.
We're in. So Victoria's disgraced. Everyone's booing her or whatever. Griffith double crosses everyone at this point. He pulls a gun on the entire party. He still is holding the dog. This is my dog now.
I love this dog. I have grown to love him.
Yes. So, I don't even know what his motivation is. He's just going to take the money and run. It doesn't matter. The dog sort of snaps at his hand. This is all very audio and clever cutting displayed because that dog must have been drugged throughout the entire filming process. Very docile.
I mean, the amount of time the dog was on screen, they might have had to give him 2 half trazodones. So
yes. So they're the dog bit Griffith's hand, causing him to drop the gun. Therefore, the sheriff can arrest him. Hey, the sheriff's back. Emily gets
Yeah.
the dog. The dog belongs to Emily because she signed those adoption papers way back at the beginning of the movie. Victoria's arrested, and Dee Dee asks Emily to be the face of the brand going forward. So from personal assistant to face of the brand.
Sure.
Why not?
No one knows who she is, but, you know.
Yeah, so this is great. This is great. And as Emily's first official action as new head of Frost Home Decor, she judges the Christmas tree contest. She's just priorities, people. Priorities.
She is not qualified to judge this Christmas tree contest.
Well, yeah, because her decision is that everybody wins, and that's not the spirit of Christmas.
That sounds like communism. And I did not lose an arm in Vietnam for this Christmas to be taken over by communism.
She didn't even look at the trees.
One of the trees might have had, like, Nazi shit on it. She doesn't know.
Right, yeah. We didn't even get, this would have been a perfect time to spend some camera time on a row of elaborately decorated Christmas trees, which is not what they did. That's too bad.
To put some actual Christmas stuff in the movie?
Yeah. All right, but we need to end the movie, and it ends with Emily owing Jonathan the reward for finding the dog. So she owes him $75 and a Christmas wish. And what do you think the Christmas wish is?
End of childhood cancer.
No.
No more hunger.
This is a veterinarian.
The end of feline leukemia.
That would have been a great one.
Yeah, I mean, if she could do it, that would be great.
Yeah. No, he wants a kiss, I guess? He doesn't even really say it. They just kiss. End of movie.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, coercing a kiss. Got it.
Yeah.
Romantic.
She showed, no interest in him throughout the entire film.
Well, she's gonna move back away to a slightly different part of Southern California anyway, so it's...
Yeah, she's the head of the brand.
Yeah, and he's gonna run the dog shop because his frozen-faced dad is retiring soon, right?
Yeah, he's got responsibilities. Yeah.
This long-distance stuff doesn't work out.
It's not gonna work.
No.
No, I give him till New Year's. All right. Is it time to rate this movie?
God, let's get out of here. This is the worst shit.
Effort. How much effort was put into this movie?
I believe it's a 2. I believe it is a 2 effort.
Yeah.
This is... I mean, there's certainly no effort in the screenplay.
Yeah.
And most of the acting is bad.
Yep.
And all the cuts are obvious. And there's Dave... Yeah, this is bad. This is a bad thing.
Did this movie make any sense?
Not really. I'm going to give it I'm going to say 4, because at least one scene kind of led to another, but so little happens that it couldn't have not made that. This is 4 is generous, but 4.
Production value.
2.
Entertainment value.
1. This movie is no Billy Frankenstein. Okay,
Oh my gosh. If you had to compare it to Abner the Invisible Dog, though.
I think I'd rather watch Abner the Invisible Dog because at least there are parts of that movie where there's an obvious human stand-in for the dog, and it's kind of funny and silly. Mm-hmm. And Abner the Invisible Dog has a Svengoolie science kit.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, he actually talked to Svengoolie and got his permission to do that too. This is the worst movie we've ever watched. It starts slow and then just grinds to a halt 20 minutes in, and I'm just like, oh no. I've watched this movie forever. It's only 85 minutes long and there's still an hour left. How?
Do you have a question for me?
Of course I have a question for you. Is life worth living? No, I mean, my question for you is, how Christmassy was this movie?
I'm going to say a 2. I really liked Emily's sparkly red Christmas sweater.
It's just the sweaters, huh?
That's what did it. I was just like, wow, where'd she get that sweater?
Okay, and since this is, this is 2. This is this is the most and also it's Christmas movie we've done yet. And that's saying something since half of these movies have been and also it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, does any of these movies feel like the most Christmassy of the ones we've watched?
Oh, we're we're gonna have to go with like the one that was filmed in East Aurora.
Just because that's the capital of Christmas, East Aurora, New York.
Yeah, and there was some snow on the ground.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Because everything else was in Southern California. It was like, you just have some trees in the background.
Yeah, everybody wearing sweaters, and they're obviously sweating because they're in California.
Apart from setting, though, the first movie, The Christmas List, might be the most Christmassy because at least that, like, everything has to do with Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like, we're trying to make the perfect Christmas.
Well, you also had the mom and daughter characters dress up as Mrs. Claus. That was pretty Christmassy. I didn't think we could go down from there, but we did.
Yeah, we really went down. Okay, so the last thing I think I want to do, there could also be a last thing from you too, but I would like to tell you all the 8-act structure of these movies as written in Writing the Perfect Christmas Movie by Fred Olen Ray. And let's see if you agree with these things and if you felt them throughout the course of these 6 movies or 9 movies that we've done now with Christmas. Is it 9? Maybe 10? I don't even fucking know. Anyway, Act 1, 20 pages. We establish the main characters, establish the protagonist's life. Hero or heroine hero and heroine cross paths either by page 10 or 20. And then, this is put in Act 1, but this is for general everything else. End each act with a cliffhanger, revelation, or meaningful moment. So like, okay, sure, that doesn't really have anything to do with Act 1, but okay, Fred Olen Ray, sure. Then we've got Acts 2 and 3, and these are going to be 10 to 13 pages each. We've got each act brings the 2 main characters closer against the odds. Okay, sure. They've got a problem, they're working on it together, they're doing stuff together. That's every movie, got it. Act 4, 10 to 13 pages. The most dramatic act in the piece. A crucial cliffhanger at the 1-hour mark. Keep them watching. So I really can't remember any like mid-movie like huge cliffhangers or anything like that. Maybe in this movie was the like, hey, we see the dog in the restaurant, but I couldn't really spot this one as much as some of the other ones.
No.
Now we've got Act 5 and 6, 10 to 13 pages each. The fun of being in love. A common goal and path to success. And then they can almost celebrate, and then... So that's the end of Act 6 there. This is one we see a lot, is like, they're usually just about to kiss, and then another character walks into the scene with some news.
Oh, that's the fun of being in love?
That's the fun of being in love, is right before that, is like, you're at your beach, your Christmas beach, eating something and like falling in love. And then Act 7, emotional crisis or revelation. Will things work out? This is our fight for no reason moment here too. Like,
right.
This is our.
Yep.
This is our. You didn't tell me you were a prince. You're just trying to buy my ice skating rink.
You have an old camera with photos of my boss on it. How dare you?
You stupid slut. And then Act 8, our final act, 10 to 13 pages, is the best friend consoles the heroine. Now, the term best friend is pretty loose here. Like,
the mom.
It's the mom, or... I mean, we really don't have a best friend in most of these movies. Like, we've got the bartender in the one movie. We've got Dana, who is barely a character in Christmas in Vermont. I know I'm going back seasons at this point. And this is hero tracks down heroine, or heroine tracks down hero in this movie, but, same difference. Resolution and kiss. So the kiss is the big ending movie, and then Merry Christmas! ! So now you two can write a Christmas movie that will not have the emotional complexity of, say, Hot Frosty. But
sorry.
This movie hurt me, though. Like, man, I would rather watch I Believe in Santa Claus again than this one.
I haven't seen that. But I think I would be willing to watch... I think I will be overjoyed to watch It's a Wonderful Life again after this, which I found extremely boring when I was a little kid, because it's a very long movie, and it's black and white, and it's a lot for a young kid to sit through.
It's also very little to do with Christmas.
Clarence.
It's...
He's an angel.
And it's a time travel movie, and it's kind of like a Christmas Carol-y, what with ghosts and like traveling throughout points of your life. So.
This is, you know what? This exercise, The Gauntlet, has given me actually a lot of appreciation for It's a Wonderful Life. Whereas I grew up not liking that movie at all. I think looking at it with new eyes will be this Christmas Day's tradition.
Yeah. I think this Gauntlet has given me a new appreciation of what's that most Christmassy movie I'm thinking of? Ah, yes. Jingle All the Way. Because each one of these movies would have been so much better had Arnold Schwarzenegger been yelling "Turboman" throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, just normal dad, salesperson, guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh
just the all-American dad.
Every Christmas movie that I watch from here on in, I'm going to be really looking for the joy of being in love, because I understand what Fred Olin Ray thinks that is, but now, like, what do other movies think that is? What do I think that is? What is that? What is the... What?
Listen, Fred Olin Ray is on, like, wife number 3 or 4, so he knows the joy of being in love.
Huh. It's the joy of being in love, not the joy of falling in love?
Well, those are different joys. It's like the joy of falling asleep versus the joy of being asleep.
Well, right, but what was in what's outlined?
I think it's being in love.
Being in love. Okay. All right. Cool. This is over.
Whew. As always, email questions or complaints to goingoverourfreds@gmail.com. Ask us why we didn't hit all of the movies, because there's still at least a half a dozen movies out there, Christmas Fred Olin Ray movies, that we have not done.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Going Over Our Freds was created and produced by us, Michael Kennedy and Meredith Halsey.
Our theme was composed and performed by Justin Nozick. Find more music for him at Bandcamp. Search for The Plague Physicians.
Artwork by Michael Kennedy. Special thanks to everyone who helped make the season possible, including the friends and family who let us watch these movies instead of this year's Academy Award nominees. And thank you for listening.
If you'd like to hear more from us, subscribe to Going Over Our Freds on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Twitter at Goof Podcast, and find us on Instagram at Going Over Our Freds.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. For questions, comments, and complaints, email us at goingoverourfreds@gmail.com.
Thanks.